Welcome to Circular Firing Squad. I'm Marty Gensius, a counseling faculty at Kent State University and a host for Circular Firing Squad. We've got 4 members, 4 questions, and 4 answers for each question. Each squad member generates a question that we all have to answer, ranging from the pastoral to the pathetic. Let's see who's with us on this episode.
Hi, everybody. Elliott Ingersoll, professor of counseling at Cleveland State University, the one in Ohio, not the one in Tennessee, and host of Apply Topically. And I know I keep saying that, but it's coming back, man. Marty, I'm going to have an episode for you in May, so get ready.
Okay, good.
Hi, I'm Steph Martyr. I'm a doctoral candidate at Kent State University and practicing clinical counselor.
Hey everybody, Mitch Conrad, clinical mental health counseling student at Cleveland State University and practicing counselor trainee at Baldwin Wallace University.
Okay, so Elliott, you're up with the first question.
Okay. If you could hire a fictional character from film, literature, television to be your counselor, who would you hire and why?
I hated this question because it's so fun, and I think there's just so many different ways that you could go, and my brain did some really weird things with this question, and I think that it's one that will continue on. I just needed like a lot of time to go through and really think hard. But, you know, with the deliberation that I did, I think if I was looking for someone who might actually be helpful, I think Morpheus from The Matrix would be someone that I would hire to be my counselor. I think get really existential, and we could do some good work together. Good.
So I'm going to take a bit of a diversion here. We're looking at some media, film, literature, television. One of the things that I do involve myself in is video games a little bit. And so I'm not sure how many people will be familiar with this character from the Mass Effect series. It's a sci-fi video game, but this character's name is Garrus Vakarian. And I won't spoil the Mass Effect story too much here, just because I believe it's a wonderfully done game. But Garrus is one of the characters who can be with you throughout the entire trilogy inside of the role-playing game. And Garrus has been through a lot of stuff in his life, and really brings that, I think, to conversations with the main character or the player character inside of the game. And so some of the things that, I would be looking for, and I do see in Garrus, is the idea of non-judgmentalness, certainly some humor that he brings inside of situations. He's incredibly loyal, and I think a really great listener inside of this game. And there's a lot of moments that he's able to provide some significant forms of self-disclosure to relate to the player character story. So if you're not familiar with Garrus, or you're not familiar with the Mass Effect series, it's a wonderful trilogy to play.
Oh man, it's been a crazy day today, so I have not gotten to do much thinking on these questions. And this one was a particularly tough one for me. I think I started thinking of real people or historic people, and that wouldn't necessarily constitute a film, literature, television, fictional character. So that threw me for a bit of a loop. I kind of think Monk's psychiatrist from, Monk's show, I think would be an interesting person to be my therapist. But if you want to stretch it a little bit, I'm looking at media that I'm watching right now. And one thing I'm watching is Poker Face. I'm getting through the first season of Poker Face. And it's almost like I want the protagonist there to be in the office, as when I say something, they could go bovine excrement. that's not true, because the main character can read through lies. And so I think that would be helpful. And then something intrigues me. I'm watching a show, I think it's on BritBox. It's called Ludwig. And if you haven't seen it and you don't have BritBox, you probably won't see it. But it's an actor who is very witty, a British actor, and very bright. But he plays a character who is the twin of his. He has a twin brother who works as a police detective, and the brother who's the police detective goes missing in the series, and the brother's wife, his sister-in-law, calls him and says, "Listen, I need you to sneak into his office." And it'll be easy for you to do because you're a twin. All you got to do is go in there and see if you can find some information, because no one's seen him for 3 days. And apparently the office isn't alerted to it either, because he walks into the office and everybody treats him like his brother, and assumes that he is the police detective. Well, the special kind of skill that Ludwig has is he is a bit of an introvert. Some ways you would say agoraphobic at the beginning of the show, and he doesn't like to be called into these things, but he has made a big career out of solving puzzles. So he makes puzzles for magazines and everything like that. So every mystery turns into a puzzle that has a logical process for him to figure out who the killer was, or who it was. And so I would like to have someone like him in the office to kind of figure out my puzzle for me and put the connections together. So those are my three choices. Probably starting with monks would be the simplest to kind of blend in.
Well, those are all very interesting answers too. Especially, I love the Morpheus one. Boy, you're right. That would be because Morpheus, he comes across as sort of omniscient and such. Yeah, that'd be great. Um, this one was just kind of an impulsive question that I was watching this show. I got hooked into the series True Detective, and I got hooked into the Jodie Foster season. Of course, Jodie Foster could do a children's show with puppets. I would watch it. I love Jodie Foster. But the person I'm thinking of is Matthew McConaughey's character from season one, Rustin Cole. I would love to have Rustin Cole as a therapist. One session would do it, but I love the way his mind brain works. He's really existentially harsh and brutal, and anything harsh or brutal with Matthew McConaughey is probably going to be pretty good. And he always uses his taste and smell a lot, which I really appreciate. But I don't agree with his existential premises, so I don't think it would kind of cause me dismay in any sense, but I would love his brutal take on the way I sublimate things, the way I rationalize things, the way I lie to myself. That character really seemed to have a knack for it. Yeah, so Rustin Cole from the first season of True Detective.
Steph, you've got the next question.
All right. What is something you see for sale that you used as a child that has not changed?
Oh boy. Mitch?
So I'm gonna do my best with this one, where it feels like it. I'm not exactly sure if this will count or not, but we're gonna go for it anyway because it's something that I've just noticed over time that feels like it hasn't changed, but also feels like it's changing like all the time in a way, which is Legos. Back when I was a kid, like we had Lego sets, but they're so much more intricate now, and they're so much more complex now than they were when I was a kid. But I still remember like growing up and like having like specific Lego sets or purchasing like specific like themed sets or something like that. But now I see, my nieces and nephews, but especially my nephews, getting these Lego sets that are so intricate and they have so many different moving parts, but it's crazy that something like that, which Legos weren't my favorite toy, but I did enjoy like playing with them a lot. Um, it's interesting what sort of like lasts from childhood. Like there's a lot of other different sorts of like toys that I don't see in stores anymore, but now there's just like entire aisles or multiple aisles in some stores filled with Legos, and it's so interesting to me that you know, it continues to be this extremely popular toy. It makes complete sense. But I'm thinking of some of the toys that I really loved when I was a kid that didn't last as long, that I preferred over Legos. But that's something that just like the staying power of that is just, I can't imagine, you know, I imagine in 50 years, if this question's asked on another podcast somewhere, or if this podcast is going on in 50 years, that my question would likely be the same, is that, wow, there's still a lot of Legos out there and they're just everywhere.
You know,
Legos everywhere.
I have got to complain about this question because for those of you who you know, whose childhood wasn't 60 years ago, it's a tougher question for us because things change so much. Not so much in 20 years, but yeah, in 60 years they do. So I chose the one thing that has returned into my life after all of these years. And frankly, my parents would never let me have it when I was younger because it was bad for my health. But now that I am diagnosed as diabetic, uh, children's cereal, uh, Fruit Loops, and Captain Crunch. And you know, the nice thing about getting old is that you can kind of get that stuff because your parents aren't there to yell at you and you don't care as much. So, yeah, those have returned into my life. Captain Crunch, just plain Captain Crunch, not all those berries and crap they throw in it. And Fruit Loops. And so once a week, that's my quick breakfast. Get sugar into my system, and I'm off to go. So it would be kids cereal would be the thing that I would say has changed or not changed.
Hey, Marty, do you remember Sugar Stars?
I know Sugar Smacks, and you know there. I'll tell you, the boxes have gotten smaller, thinner, cheaper. They're not strong cardboard, and but what's inside is the same, although 3 or 4 times the price. But since they're American made, I expect no impact on tariffs on my Fruit Loops at all. And if it goes up, then I've got something to complain about.
If the
Elliot?
price of if the price of Fruit Loops goes up, the circular firing squad is going to launch into action. I'll tell you that for nothing.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Oh, yeah. When you mentioned cereal, I remember Sugar Stars, and I know they had them at least from 67 to 70, but then they stopped making them, and it's just all sugar and junk. But for some reason, they had a little caramel aftertaste, which I really enjoyed. But when I looked at this, I thought of two products that go very well together, which I absolutely adore. And they are really smart. They haven't made any changes. Ritz crackers and Campbell's soups, Campbell's chicken noodle soup in particular. But Ritz crackers, the gold, blue, red combination on the box, it looks like a little play chest. Oh my gosh, it's adorable. And Campbell's soups, it's just like, man, no, we're gonna put it right out there. Chicken noodle, right there, man. You know what you're getting. And they never came up with, hey, here's the new Ritz crackers. No, oh, Coca-Cola. I don't know what they were thinking. I think they were using too much of their Coca. But anyway, yeah, Ritz crackers and Campbell's soup, particularly the chicken noodle, those would be the ones that stand out for me. And I buy them to this day. And if the tariffs cause the prices to go up, maybe me and Nabisco can sublet those Keebler cobblers for some sort of guerrilla action. I don't know.
Yeah, although Ritz crackers, you can still get the original, still's the same. but now they have a whole, there's whole wheat Ritz crackers, there's mini Ritz, there's
Low
they
salt. What in the name of heaven? Low salt.
low
No,
salt.
no.
Stephanie.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what made me think of this question? So, growing up, something I remember doing with my mom is she had it was like we made leaf prints with photosensitive paper and go outside and I would find a leaf, bring it there and you put it between like the paper and it came with a piece of glass and you let it like bake in the sun for a couple minutes and then voila, you have this awesome print on this paper. Um, and I just remember doing that and it was really fun. And last summer, uh, I was like, well, I want to find this kind of kit. Like, I want to do that with Nora. And looking around and to see that from, to order it, and it was the exact same packaging. Like, it had not changed one bit. I mean, Marty, you were talking 60 years. I mean, I can say 40 years later, it was the same. It was this blue and silver packaging in this kit. And we didn't get to use it last year, so I'm very excited to use it this year and make some awesome leaf prints with Nora and my mom, the way my mom did with me with this kit that had not changed, and just the visual of it when I saw it, I couldn't believe like it was still packaged the same because it evoked that memory so strongly, just because how exactly the same it was.
Are there still spirographs around? Remember
hmm
those?
Oh,
I
I
almost
love
bought
them.
one
I
this
still
morning.
have one.
Oh, okay. Well,
They're not as
surprise,
good though.
surprise.
You have to do it differently too. They give you like gummy stuff. It doesn't I think you can still get the case that
Hmm.
closes and that's the right way to do it, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of them packaged where you have to like put some of that gummy, like the where
Stick
you
them.
yeah, it's like it won't hurt the paint on the
Yeah.
wall, but it's that kind of gummy stuff and put it on the paper with this. It's like it's much more complicated with some of the stuff. The cheapifying of items that has changed in a lot of ways. Like Marty was saying, but this, I'll tell you, this leaf print kit was like same quality, everything. Blew my mind.
That's great.
Um, so Mitch, I guess you've got the next question.
All right, let's hop into it. What are you most looking forward to after the end of this spring semester?
Well, for me, it is being able to sleep through the day whenever I want to sleep. It also means a reduction in emails because students or committees or things at the university are not hounding you because they're not going to get you in meetings. They're not going to get you to work on projects after the spring semester is over. And for us, it also means, the summer semester or the summer where we are off contract. So a lot of the stuff that you get nagged about you stop getting nagged as a faculty member during the summer because committees are shut down and all of that. So the workload drops dramatically. I am teaching during the summer, so I will still have those responsibilities, but and I'm still program coordinating. So there will be things that'll be going on to keep me active. But a lot of the other larger infrastructure meetings and we have to get your opinion on this stuff disappears for the summer because folks are off contract. So sleeping is first. Second is less meetings and less things. And third is I'm going to a bunch of Cubs games. I am driving over to Chicago and I'm going to see them in some of their home stretches. And I'm looking forward to that too. So.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're going to get to do that.
Yeah.
Similar to Marty, yeah, I'll still be coordinating, and I teach a class, but that's one of the things I'm looking forward to because it's a clinical course. It's practicum, and I don't get to focus on clinical courses during the year as much, and I like the different pace, and I like talking about cases. So I'm excited about that. I've got a new pain doctor, which is good news. That was something that was trying to work out for a while, and um, we've been working on some exercise routines for this long COVID, which is technically it's under the umbrella of myalgic encephalomyelitis with like chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. And one of the problems you run into is what they call thermal overload. If you push too hard in a workout, you can heat up your body to the point where it affects the mitochondria negatively, which is one of the problems. It's like RNase deficiency disorder. The mitochondria just aren't working at 100%. So we've created some routines that put me at about 70 to 80% on resistance training, and they've been working, meaning I'm not bedridden for 3 days after it, so I'm just having the normal recovery. So I'm really excited to see how far I can go with that. And of course, with the warm weather, I'll be able to get back on the bike and do some really nice long bike rides. And I had shared that, I'm getting a double bass, and I'm so excited because it's one I can actually play. The one I had was okay for someone in their 30s who was just, kind of getting started. But yeah, it's a really nice instrument. And I'm working with a group that has such a delightful vocalist, and I'm looking forward to doing some Patsy Cline and Ella Fitzgerald tunes. So yeah, there's a lot of excitement for me coming up in the summer, and of course, gardening season. We're planning the home garden and the community garden, which is out on about a third of an acre with a friend of ours. So yeah, lots of good stuff. I like the question. Thanks, Mitch.
Mhm.
Elliot, that's great to hear. That is really exciting. It's wonderful that like you found some things that have been more successful, especially with that long COVID. Um, you know, after the end of it's really with the weather. It doesn't impact too much as far as academic calendar wise. I'm just still in the throes of dissertation, but I am collecting data, which I guess I'm also looking forward to, and that will continue through the summer. So that will be after the end of spring semester. Um, it's like it's happening. We're moving forward. Things are going. So that's kind of cool. But next week, leaving for our annual like girls trip to Hilton Head with my mom and my daughter, and that's something I'm really looking forward to the first time in a while. In the sense of, maybe along the same lines of Elliot, I had a hip replacement, and the pain reduction has been immense, and I'm really excited to go. By next week I'll be 3 months out, and I can engage in all activities. I can ride the bike, I can even go for a run if I want. So yeah, maybe try out this new gear I have.
You can run on those? My gosh, that's fantastic.
40 years, doctor said.
Yeah.
It should last 40 years, and I could go running like twice a week. He's like, probably not like a daily thing, but it was never quite a daily thing. So I can deal with two times a week.
Bravo. Excellent.
Yeah, thanks for your answers, everybody. Lots of things to look forward to. Um, for me, I'm actually going to select something that's sort of like dropping something which is looking forward to, like no homework. I had sort of lost track being in school the past 3 years with, I've just got, I took summer classes every single year that I've been in my graduate program, and coming up on graduating, it's weird thinking about like, wait a minute, I don't have assignments. Even in the summer, I don't have anything that's going to, necessarily be due in the summer. And I've sort of got like the entire summer off, which has just been something that I've been thinking of in April. And also definitely like getting, and Steph, you were talking about this, like, I've been thinking about like getting back outside too. This is the first week that I've been able to spend, I think, more than half of the days really outside doing something outdoors, even if it's just going on a walk. But that has been such an immense bonus and benefit for me and my mental health. I really prefer the summer months and the warmer weather, as I'm sure many of us do. But that's something that's also something that I'm really looking forward to as we get sort of out of the rain, I guess, in April, although it hasn't been that rainy, but really hitting up those summer days. Really looking forward to that.
It's been a kind of rainy last week here in Ohio for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a pond that develops in my backyard. It's not, the drainage is so bad that we get a pond every time we've got serious rain. Please do consider buying our house if we ever sell it, though. It's kind of quaint because the ducks arrive. So we have ducks that land in our backyard with with the rain and the buildup, and then eventually it goes down after a day and a half, and then it rains again, and then it fills back up, and the ducks come back. So they paddle around my backyard for a while. It's kind of nice, and as the summer happens, it'll be a little different in terms of rain, a little drier. So the semester is ending. I kind of took this question early on, and we kind of filled in what we're looking forward to with the semester ending. But my question was, with the semester ending, what's your steps to land the plane? How do you finish? What kind of things do you need to do to finish the semester?
That's I love the phrase that land the plane, because that's what it feels like sometime, except you don't know how to fly a plane. So I think for me, this is a very positive thing I get to do, but we've been short faculty for a couple years now. We had 2 searches, and we are very close. We've almost brought them to a successful completion. And there were a lot of challenges involved, and the team of the faculty just worked brilliantly. And I'm going to make sure I let everybody know that it's one of those good things, man. You should brag about your colleagues when they're killing it. And my colleagues are definitely doing amazing things, and I'm very proud to be part of the group. As far as finals and final projects, I try to get everything wrapped up by the weekend if I can. The projects are going to take a little longer, but exams I can usually grade by Saturday, and I like to get the grades turned in really quickly so that my students who are prone to anxiety don't have to unnecessarily suffer. And then I think the other thing is just getting out of the mode where I have to respond every day to every email, and letting myself have some space, because I also want to get back to my fiction writing this summer. So yeah, all good stuff. But land the plane we must.
I mean, I can circle for a bit, um, in the sense of I'm not landing anything for the end of spring semester. I am starting data collection on dissertation. I'm getting into it. I'm kind of like getting to cruising altitude at the end of spring semester, but that's because I'll be collecting data through the summer. Then I'm hoping by the end of summer, my plane will be landed. So I'm traveling right now in order to land the plane as far as data collection goes at the end of summer, and then land the final plane maybe spring next year. We'll see. I'm not thinking about those planes. Those are future flights that I don't have to worry about at the moment.
Those are pre-booked flights, but they'll let them take care of themselves, right?
So one of the things that has even just been helping me this week is I got my keyboard back from being serviced, which was fantastic. Have been looking forward to playing it for a while and hop back in this week. It wasn't as costly as I thought it was going to be, and so there was some question in discussion of is this like a 3-figure repair? Is this a 4-figure repair? It ended up just being like a very minor repair and clean, which was nice. But one of the things that I've even noticed when I've been thinking about playing it or looking forward to playing it, is that I'll be thinking in music notes. And that helps me so much because I'm not thinking cognitive thoughts, I guess. I'm not thinking like the internal dialogue that I've got like going on in my head all the time. Like that's not happening as much, where I'll be thinking in terms of like playing out the notes on the keyboard. And that's something that actually really helps me relax and really gets me out of my head a little bit in a different way, I guess. I guess I'm still in my head, but I'm thinking musically, which is nice.
Yeah, Mitch, we should bring our instruments to Joka Hall and do a little playing together.
Yeah, I've got a case for it. I can, it's a portable keyboard.
Well, for me, I thought of this question because I realized there's this kind of ritual I go through in preparing to end the semester. And I think the first thing I do is put together the remaining lectures I have to do for the classes that I have to do them in. And I put them in folders and they're on my desktop so I don't have to think about what I need to do before I go to class. It's right there. I open it up and I'm ready to go. So that's the first thing. It's like when I've completed those weeks and those folders, I feel like, okay, the semester in terms of instructional stuff is done. Then the next thing is write the finals. Well, actually, it's write the study guides for the finals and then write the finals. And once I have that done, then for me, emotionally and connected, I am done with the semester. Um, so I just have to do the remaining lectures, give the exams, and grade the exams. And Elliot, like you, I try to get them done quickly. Although it's a tedious process, it is a tedious process for me. Other people relish in it. I don't know if anybody relishes in it, but it just feels real tedious. But once I get them done, it's sort of like I I feel like I need to give myself a little prize for getting my work done. Maybe it's Fruit Loops. I don't know. But then, during finals week, when people are preparing for my finals, I am putting together my syllabus for the next class I'm going to teach in 2 to 3 weeks and have that all up on board for students to be able to access. So that's kind of my landing process. The plane comes down, goes up a little bit as I prepare for the next semester, and then back down again. And then hopefully I can get completely away from it until I have to go back to teaching again. So,
Oh, Marty, I have one tag on. I
yeah.
have a lot of students who they approach me in spring, like right about now, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Do you have your summer semester syllabus done so I can get a head start on it?" I'm like, "No." They say to me, "Do you know what forms I need to bring to the first night of class?" I'm like, "Absolutely don't know. I have no clue. I have to
Yeah.
be able to finish spring before I can dive into the next semester."
And in some ways they should too. But yeah, they're ahead of the game. They should be worrying about your exams and my exams, and getting ready for that, instead of the form. The form is an afterthought. Anyways, yeah, I think that's it. I've got one final question. It's our final shot question. The snack that you have while working.
Okay, there's two. And one is a grazing snack when I don't have meals. I usually like to graze, and sometimes I'll grill a lot of beef in advance. So a really nice piece of grilled beef, a little light on the Worcestershire, and uh, sweet onions. And I'll just
Hmm.
have slices of onion, raw onion, and I'll have a little nibble of beef and a little taste of onion, and not only does it delight me in terms of gustatory sensations, but yeah, it seems to help keep me awake. Now, the other one I call the Hail Mary snack. Things aren't going well. Something drastic must be done. And there is a very small can of Betty Crocker vanilla icing in the back of my refrigerator. And I will pull that baby out. I'm not proud. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it. But yeah, spoon in the icing, and that if that doesn't kickstart what needs kickstarted, oh, there's no hope.
Icing's so good. Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
What's not to
So
love, folks? Come
I
on.
know.
Maybe
And
circular
sometimes,
firing squad. We should come up with our own icing, our own flavor.
wow. Oh, limited edition. Um,
Yes.
yeah. Well, it's hard for me sometimes. I can't really snack while I'm working because when I'm working, I'm seeing clients, and unless I have a break, it's hard to to have a snack. Excuse me. Um, getting late. I was in the sun all day. Uh, but if I'm afraid I'm going to be hungry, like it's a long day and they're just jam packed, I will throw an Uncrustables, a Smucker's Uncrustable, into my purse just so I have something in case I'm just ravished and or I need something to ravish because I'm just starving. And um, you know, that's it. I mean, I'll put fruit in my bag. I'll put some mandarins in there. I'll throw an apple in, but the chances of those being consumed during work, no. I'm answering this as like a real question and not a final shot. Smucker's Uncrustable.
For me, I've got a sweet tooth. It's any kind of chocolate, any kind of candy. It's just, yep. Even if it's a little sugar high, and there's of course like a crash that comes after that, I just can't resist.
Well, I think icing would figure into that, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got sweets, but they don't fill me up. So my selection for snacks, I've made a little charcuterie board essentially. I go downstairs and I get some Triscuits, and then I have bought this cheese that's I use a butter knife because it's the easiest thing to spread on the cracker. And then I get some of those sausage, the sausages that you can buy that are like teriyaki or honey barbecue, and I just cut them up. And then I have a little bit of sausage and a little bit of the crackers. The thing that's really difficult for me, any snacking, I don't like my fingers to have food on them because the snacking comes between typing. And
Oh,
so then my keyboard gets all messy. So I will wind up using various implements like forks to pick up the sausage so I'm not getting greasy fingers on. So that's kind of my thing. And then the second option is cut up celery and some ranch dip. And that will those two will fill me up, which is my purpose for snacking when I need to do it. So maybe you have your favorite snack, and that's raised some thoughts in your mind about what people and what you eat when you're snacking at work. And let us know about it. Go ahead and email us, get in touch with us. And I want to thank the group. Thanks to the firing squad, Elliott, Mitch, and Stephanie joining us tonight. Look for some of these characters on their podcast, on thepodtalk.net. You can also find other shows that are on thepodtalk.net that I'm involved in and producing. One with my son called Gear Up and Go, which is fun. I mean, I thought it was going to be, I didn't think it was going to be anything, but it's turned into a lot of fun for him and I, and he's doing more traveling with the work that he's doing right now. And so we always have gear to talk about and ideas to talk about. We just did a show today that I'm producing on hotel Wi-Fi and how to wrestle with security in hotel Wi-Fi and how to get good hotel Wi-Fi. Because he's going back to lost wages, and he stays in this hotel that they put him in, and it doesn't, at least the last hotel didn't have very good Wi-Fi. So that was the topic for today. So look for that and other shows on thepodtalk.net. Our theme music is from Menage a Quad, Real Swing Shet. That's it for this episode of Circular Firing Squad. Ready, fire,